Abduction and arrival. The stars twinkled innocently in the night sky as 12-year-old Zoe Fletcher lay on the cool grass of her backyard, gazing up at the vast expanse above. Little did she know that her life was about to change forever. A bright light suddenly flooded the area, causing Zoe to shield her eyes. When she lowered her arm, she found herself surrounded by strange metallic walls, the familiar scent of freshly cut grass replaced by an antiseptic odor. Panic gripped Zoe as she realized she was no longer in her backyard. The room she found herself in was small and windowless, with a single door that seemed to blend seamlessly into the wall. The light emanating from the ceiling was harsh and unnatural, casting an eerie glow on her surroundings. "Hello," Zoe called out, her voice shaky. "Is anyone there? Where am I?" Silence answered her questions, broken only by the faint hum of machinery. Zoe hugged herself tightly, trying to make sense of what had happened. One moment she was stargazing, and the next, abducted. The thought sent a chill down her spine. Hours passed, or perhaps it was days. Zoe couldn't tell in the timeless confines of her metallic prison. She drifted in and out of fitful sleep, jolted awake by nightmares of strange creatures and unfamiliar worlds. When the door finally slid open with a soft hiss, Zoe wasn't sure if she was relieved or terrified. A tall, slender being entered the room. Its skin shimmered with an iridescent blue hue, and its large, almond-shaped eyes regarded Zoe with what seemed like curiosity. The creature's long, spindly fingers gestured for Zoe to follow. Who are you?" Zoe stammered, her legs trembling as she stood. "What do you want with me?" The alien didn't respond verbally, but a series of clicks and whistles emanated from what Zoe assumed was its mouth. It gestured again, more insistently this time. With no other choice, Zoe followed the alien out of the room and into a corridor that seemed to stretch endlessly in both directions. The walls pulsed with a soft, bioluminescent glow, and Zoe could hear distant sounds of activity, mechanical whirs, muffled voices, and occasional bursts of what might have been laughter. As they walked, Zoe noticed other aliens of various shapes and sizes. Some resembled her guide, while others were so bizarre she could hardly comprehend their forms. Many turned to stare at her, their expressions ranging from curiosity to disdain. Finally, they arrived at a large, circular room filled with what appeared to be young aliens. Zoe's guide ushered her inside, and then left, the door sliding shut behind her. "Look, another new arrival." A voice chirped in perfect English, startling Zoe. She turned to see a small green creature with multiple eyes blinking at her. You can speak English?" Zoe asked, bewildered. The creature laughed, a tinkling sound like wind chimes. "Of course not. We're all fitted with universal translators upon arrival. You must have gotten yours while you were unconscious." Zoe's hand flew to her ear, feeling a small warm device nestled there. How had she not noticed it before? "Where are we?" Zoe asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Welcome to the Galactic Academy for Gifted Youth," the green alien replied cheerfully. "I'm Silks. What's your name?" "Zoe," she replied automatically, her mind reeling. "Galactic Academy. But I'm from Earth. I didn't apply to any academy." Zilks's eyes widened in surprise. "Earth? Oh my, we haven't had an Earthling here in centuries. You must be very special to have been chosen." Before Zoe could respond, a tall, imposing figure entered the room. The alien students immediately fell silent and stood at attention. "Greetings, new arrivals." The figure spoke, its voice resonating with authority. "I am Headmaster Vexthor. You have been brought to the Galactic Academy because you possess potential beyond that of your peers. Here you will learn to harness your gifts and become the future leaders of the galaxy." Zoe's mind raced. Potential. Gifts? She was just an ordinary girl from a small town on Earth. There must have been some mistake. As if reading her thoughts, Headmaster Vexthor's gaze fell upon Zoe. "Ah, our Earthling student. It's been a long time since we've had one of your kind here. I look forward to seeing what you can do." Whispers and snickers erupted around the room. Zoe felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment as the other students stared at her, some with curiosity, others with barely concealed contempt. "Silence," Vexthor commanded, and the room fell quiet once more. "You will all be assigned to your living quarters and given your class schedules. Remember, you are here to learn, grow, and push the boundaries of your abilities." Dismissed. As the students began to file out of the room, Zoe found herself rooted to the spot, overwhelmed by the sudden turn her life had taken. Zilks tugged gently on her arm. "Come on, Zoe," the green alien said kindly. "I'll show you to the dormitories." As they walked through the winding corridors of the academy, Zoe's mind whirled with questions. "Zilks," she began hesitantly, "why was everyone laughing when the headmaster mentioned I was from Earth?" Zilks's expression turned sympathetic. "Well, you see, Earth is considered a bit primitive by galactic standards. Many here believe Earthlings aren't capable of the same level of intelligence or ability as other species." Zoe felt a surge of indignation. "That's not fair. They don't even know me." "I know," Zilks agreed. "But don't worry. You'll have a chance to prove them wrong." They arrived at a door that slid open to reveal a small but comfortable room. "This is your quarters," Zilks explained. "The bathroom is through that door, and your uniform and class materials are in the closet. Classes start tomorrow morning." As Zilks turned to leave, Zoe called out, "Wait. I don't know if I can do this. I'm not special. I don't have any gifts or powers." Zilks smiled, a warm expression that somehow conveyed across the alien features. "The academy doesn't make mistakes, Zoe. You're here for a reason. Get some rest, and tomorrow you'll start discovering what that reason is." With that, Zilks left, and Zoe was alone once more. She sank onto the bed, which molded comfortably to her body. As she lay there, staring at the ceiling, she couldn't help but wonder what she had gotten herself into. The next morning, Zoe awoke to a soft chime. She dressed in the provided uniform, a sleek, silvery jumpsuit that fit perfectly, and made her way to her first class, following the directions on a holographic map that appeared when she exited her room. The classroom was unlike anything Zoe had ever seen. Instead of desks, there were hovering platforms arranged in a semicircle. In the center stood a tall, willowy alien with 4 arms and skin that shifted colors like a mood ring. "Welcome, students," the teacher said as the class settled in. "I am Professor Lyrax, and this is Introductory Xenobiology. We'll begin with a simple exercise to assess your baseline knowledge." A holographic image appeared in front of each student. Zoe's heart sank as she stared at the complex alien anatomy displayed before her. She had no idea where to begin. As the other students quickly began labeling parts and systems, Zoe heard snickers from nearby. She glanced over to see a group of aliens whispering and pointing at her. "Look at the Earthling," one hissed, not bothering to keep his voice down. "She probably can't even identify a basic respiratory system." Zoe felt her cheeks burn with humiliation. She wanted to disappear, to wake up and find this had all been a bizarre dream. But as she looked back at the hologram, something strange happened. The alien anatomy began to make sense. It was as if a fog had lifted from her mind, and suddenly she could see the connections, the similarities to Earth biology she had studied. With growing confidence, Zoe began to label the parts. Her fingers flew across the holographic interface, identifying systems and organs with surprising accuracy. When she finished, she looked up to find Professor Lyrax standing beside her, all 4 eyes wide with astonishment. "Remarkable, Ms. Fletcher," the professor said. "You've correctly identified every major system, including some that even advanced students often miss. Well done." The classroom fell silent, all eyes on Zoe. She could hardly believe it herself. How had she known all that? As the class continued, Zoe found herself absorbing information at an incredible rate. Concepts that should have been utterly foreign seemed to click into place in her mind. By the end of the lesson, she had answered more questions correctly than any other student. As they filed out of the classroom, Zoe overheard more whispers, But this time, they were tinged with a new emotion: respect. Maybe the Earthling isn't so primitive after all, one student muttered. Zoe couldn't help but smile. It was a small victory, but it gave her hope. Maybe, just maybe, she did belong here after all. As she made her way to her next class, Zoe's mind raced with possibilities. What other hidden talents might she possess? And more importantly, how would she use them to prove herself in this strange new world? Little did Zoe know, her journey at the Galactic Academy was just beginning, and the true extent of her abilities was yet to be revealed. The stars that had once seemed so distant now held the promise of adventure, and Zoe Fletcher, the girl from Earth, was ready to reach for them. Trials and tribulations. As days turned into weeks at the Galactic Academy, Zoe found herself settling into a routine that was both exhilarating and exhausting. Each day brought new challenges and discoveries, pushing her to limits she never knew she had. While her initial success in xenobiology had earned her some respect, it also painted a target on her back for those who still believed humans had no place among the stars. One crisp morning, Zoe made her way to the Academy's vast gymnasium for her first physical adaptation class. The room was filled with obstacle courses that seemed to defy the laws of physics, platforms that phased in and out of existence, gravity wells that could turn a simple jump into a leap across impossible distances, and holographic predators that stalked the perimeter. As Zoe took in the daunting scene, a booming voice echoed through the chamber. "Welcome, students, to the crucible where your bodies will be forged into weapons of galactic peace." The speaker was a massive four-armed creature with skin like polished obsidian. "I am Coach Krogath, and by the end of this term, you will curse my name, but you will also thank me for pushing you beyond your limits." The alien students around Zoe buzzed with excitement, but she felt a knot of anxiety forming in her stomach. How could she possibly compete with beings who had evolved on worlds with greater gravity, or who possessed natural abilities far beyond human capacity? "First up," Krogath announced, "the Gravity Gauntlet. You will navigate this course while I adjust the gravity. Your goal is to reach the end without falling. Simple enough, yes?" As the first few students took on the challenge, Zoe watched in awe. They leaped and bounded across the shifting platforms with grace and agility that seemed almost superhuman. But as the gravity increased, even the most nimble began to struggle. "Fletcher," Krogath bellowed, "you're up, Earthling. Let's see what you can do." Zoe stepped up to the starting line, her heart pounding. She could feel the eyes of her classmates boring into her, most expecting her to fail spectacularly. As she took her first step onto the course, she felt the gravity shift, becoming lighter. She bounded forward, surprised by how easily she moved. But her elation was short-lived. Halfway through the course, the gravity suddenly increased tenfold. Zoe felt as if she were moving through molasses, each step a monumental effort. Her muscles screamed in protest as she forced herself forward. "Come on, Earthling," a voice jeered from the sidelines. "Is that the best you can do?" Gritting her teeth, Zoe pushed on. She remembered the breathing techniques she had learned in her meditation classes back on Earth, focusing on each inhale and exhale. To her surprise, she felt a warmth spreading through her limbs, as if her very cells were adapting to the crushing gravity. With renewed determination, Zoe pressed forward. Her movements became more fluid, more natural. As she neared the finish line, she realized the gravity had increased even further, yet she was moving faster than before. With a final burst of speed, Zoe crossed the finish line, collapsing to her knees as the gravity returned to normal. The gymnasium was silent for a moment before erupting into a mix of cheers and astonished murmurs. Coach Krogath approached, all four of his eyes wide with surprise. "Impressive, Fletcher. I've never seen an Earthling adapt so quickly to extreme gravitational changes. Well done." As Zoe caught her breath, she noticed a group of students huddled together, whispering and casting furtive glances her way. At their center was Vexlor, a Centaurian known for his athletic prowess and disdain for lesser species. "Lucky break," Vexlor sneered as Zoe passed by. Don't let it go to your head, Earthling. You don't belong here, and sooner or later, everyone will see that. Zoe felt a flash of anger, but she pushed it down. She wouldn't let bullies like Vexilor get to her. Instead, she focused on the warmth of pride in her chest. She had overcome the challenge, and in doing so, had discovered something new about herself. As the weeks progressed, Zoe continued to surprise both herself and her instructors. In telepathic communications, she found she had a natural affinity for projecting and receiving thoughts, quickly becoming one of the top students in the class. In quantum mechanics, her ability to visualize complex multidimensional equations left even the Arcturian students, known for their mathematical genius, in awe. But with each success came new challenges. Some students, like Zilks, became fast friends, always ready with a word of encouragement or a helping tentacle. Others, however, saw Zoe's achievements as a threat to their perceived superiority. One day, as Zoe was making her way to the library to study for an upcoming interstellar navigation exam, she found her path blocked by Vexilor and his gang. Well, Vexilor drawled, his 4 eyes narrowing. If it isn't the Academy's pet Earthling. Feeling pretty proud of yourself, aren't you? Zoe tried to sidestep them, but they moved to surround her. I'm just trying to study, Vexilor. We all are. Can't we just get along? Vexilor laughed, a harsh sound that sent shivers down Zoe's spine. Get along? With a primitive like you? You're a mistake, Fletcher. A cosmic joke. And it's time someone put you in your place. Before Zoe could react, Vexilor's hand shot out, grabbing her arm. His touch sent a jolt of pain through her body, like an electric shock. Zoe cried out, trying to pull away, but Vexilor's grip was like iron. Not so tough now, are you? Vexilor sneered. This is just a taste of what real power feels like, Earthling. Remember this the next time you think you can compete with us. Suddenly, a voice rang out from down the corridor. What's going on here? Zoe looked up to see Professor Lyrax approaching, her color-shifting skin pulsing with angry reds and oranges. Vexilor immediately released Zoe, his demeanor changing in an instant. Nothing, Professor. We were just having a friendly chat with our Earth colleague. Professor Lyrax's eyes narrowed, clearly not believing the lie. I see. Well, I suggest you all return to your studies. Now. As Vexilor and his gang slunk away, Professor Lyrax turned to Zoe. Are you all right, Ms. Fletcher? Zoe nodded, rubbing her arm where Vexilor had grabbed her. The pain was already fading, but the memory of it, and the fear it had instilled, remained. Thank you, Professor, Zoe said quietly. Professor Lyrax's expression softened. Zoe, I know it's not easy being the only human here, but you've shown remarkable potential. Don't let bullies like Vexilor make you doubt yourself. As the professor walked away, Zoe stood there, lost in thought. She was grateful for the intervention, but a part of her felt ashamed. She had frozen in fear, unable to defend herself. If she couldn't stand up to bullies like Vexilor, how could she ever hope to prove she belonged at the Academy? That night, as Zoe lay in bed, unable to sleep, she made a decision. She wouldn't be a victim anymore. Somehow, some way, she would find the strength to stand up for herself, and for any other student who faced discrimination at the Academy. With that resolve firmly in mind, Zoe finally drifted off to sleep. In her dreams, she saw herself standing tall, surrounded by a strange, shimmering energy. It was a power she couldn't quite grasp, but she knew it was there, waiting to be unlocked. The next morning, Zoe woke with a new determination. As she made her way to her first class of the day, Advanced Telekinesis, she held her head high. She might be from Earth, she might not have the natural abilities of her alien classmates, but she was here for a reason, and she was going to prove it. Little did Zoe know, the trials she had faced so far were just the beginning. The true test of her abilities and her courage was yet to come. But with each challenge overcome, each skill mastered, she was one step closer to unlocking the hidden potential within her, a power that would soon shake the very foundations of the Galactic Academy. As the first rays of the alien sun peeked through her window, Zoe Fletcher, the girl from Earth, stood ready to face whatever the universe had in store for her. Her journey was far from over, but she was no longer afraid. She was ready to reach for the stars and beyond. Discovery of hidden power. The weeks following Zoe's confrontation with Vexilor were filled with intense study and practice. Determined to never feel helpless again, Zoe threw herself into her classes with renewed vigor. She spent countless hours in the Academy's vast library, poring over ancient texts and holographic displays, searching for anything that might give her an edge. One evening, as the twin moons of the Academy's planet cast an ethereal glow through the library's crystalline dome, Zoe stumbled upon a dusty old tome hidden in a forgotten corner. The book's cover was worn, its title barely legible, Forgotten Arts of the Cosmic Ancients. Intrigued, Zoe opened the book, and a holographic display sprang to life above its pages. It showed a humanoid figure surrounded by swirling energy, performing movements that seemed both familiar and alien at the same time. "What is this?" Zoe whispered to herself, her eyes wide with wonder. As she continued to study the holographic images, she felt a strange resonance within her, as if something deep inside was responding to the ancient knowledge. Without fully realizing what she was doing, Zoe began to mimic the movements shown in the book. At first, nothing happened. But as she continued, focusing her mind and body on the unfamiliar patterns, she felt a warmth building in her core. It spread through her limbs, tingling at her fingertips and toes. Suddenly, a burst of blue-white energy erupted from her hands, startling her so much that she dropped the book. The energy dissipated as quickly as it had appeared, leaving Zoe breathless and bewildered. What just happened?" she gasped, staring at her hands in disbelief. "An interesting question indeed, Miss Fletcher," came a voice from behind her. Zoe whirled around to find Headmaster Vexthor standing there, his eyes gleaming with curiosity. "Headmaster, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to," Zoe stammered, unsure of how to explain what had just occurred. Vexthor held up a hand, silencing her. "No need for apologies, young one. It seems you've stumbled upon something quite extraordinary." He picked up the fallen book, examining it with interest. The Cosmic Ancients, a civilization lost to time, their knowledge scattered across the galaxy. Few have been able to tap into their power in millennia. Zoe's mind raced. But how? Why me? Vexthor's expression turned thoughtful. "Perhaps it is not despite your humanity that you can access this power, but because of it. The ancients were said to have seeded many worlds with life, Earth included. It's possible their legacy lives on in your very DNA." The implications of this revelation were staggering. Zoe felt as if the ground beneath her feet had shifted, opening up a world of possibilities she had never imagined. "What does this mean, Headmaster?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "It means, Miss Fletcher, that your education at the Academy is about to take a rather unconventional turn." Vexthor replied with a smile. "Report to my office tomorrow morning. We have much to discuss." As the headmaster left, Zoe stood rooted to the spot, her mind whirling with questions and possibilities. She looked down at her hands, still tingling with residual energy, and felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Whatever lay ahead, she knew her life at the Academy would never be the same. The next morning, Zoe found herself in Headmaster Vexthor's office, a circular room filled with strange artifacts and holographic displays of distant star systems. The headmaster sat behind a desk that seemed to be made of living wood, its surface rippling gently like water. "Miss Fletcher," Vexthor began, his voice grave, "what you discovered last night is both a great opportunity and a great responsibility. The power of the Cosmic Ancients is not to be taken lightly." Zoe nodded, her throat dry with anticipation. "From this day forward, you will have special training sessions with me and a select few of our most trusted faculty members," Vexthor continued. We will help you understand and control this power. But remember, with great power comes great danger. You must exercise the utmost caution and discretion." "I understand, Headmaster," Zoe replied, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "I won't let you down." And so began a new chapter in Zoe's life at the Galactic Academy. In addition to her regular classes, she now had private sessions where she learned to harness the strange energy she had awakened. At first, progress was slow and frustrating. Zoe would spend hours trying to recreate the burst of energy she had experienced in the library, often with little success. But with each passing day, she felt the power growing stronger, more accessible. "Excellent work, Zoe," Professor Lyrax exclaimed, her skin shifting to excited shades of yellow and orange. "Now, try to shape it. Imagine it taking form." Zoe closed her eyes, concentrating hard. In her mind's eye, she saw the energy morphing, stretching, becoming a shield. When she opened her eyes, she gasped in amazement. Hovering before her was a translucent, shimmering barrier of energy. "Remarkable," Professor Lyrax breathed. "You're progressing faster than we could have hoped." As Zoe's control over her newfound abilities grew, so did her confidence. She began to excel even further in her regular classes, her enhanced focus and energy allowing her to push beyond what she had thought possible. However, her success did not go unnoticed. Whispers began to circulate among the student body about Zoe's special training sessions and her rapidly improving skills. Some looked at her with awe and admiration, while others, Vexlor and his gang chief among them, regarded her with increasing suspicion and hostility. One day, as Zoe was leaving the telekinesis lab, she found her path blocked once again by Vexlor and his cronies. Well, Vexlor sneered, his 4 eyes narrowing. "If it isn't the Headmaster's pet project, think you're special now, don't you, Earthling?" Zoe stood her ground, her heart racing, but her voice steady. "I'm just trying to learn, Vexlor, same as everyone else." Vexlor laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Oh, but you're not like everyone else, are you? Sneaking around, having secret lessons. What are you hiding, Fletcher?" He took a step forward, looming over Zoe. She could feel the malevolent energy radiating from him, but this time, instead of fear, she felt a surge of power within her. "Back off, Vexlor," Zoe warned, her hands beginning to glow with a faint blue light. "I don't want trouble, but I'm not afraid of you anymore." For a moment, surprise flickered across Vexlor's face. Then his expression hardened. "You think a few parlor tricks make you our equal? You're nothing but a primitive ape playing with forces you can't understand." He lashed out with his energy-charged hand, aiming for Zoe's face. But this time, Zoe was ready. With a swift motion, she raised her arm, and a shimmering shield of energy materialized between them. Vexlor's attack bounced off harmlessly, the backlash sending him stumbling backward. The corridor fell silent, all eyes on Zoe and the fading energy shield. Vexlor stared at her, a mixture of shock and rage on his face. "This isn't over, Fletcher," he snarled, before turning and storming off, his gang trailing behind him. As the crowd of onlookers dispersed, whispering excitedly among themselves, Zoe leaned against the wall, her heart pounding. She had done it. She had stood up to Vexlor and protected herself. But she knew this was just the beginning of a new set of challenges. That evening, as Zoe sat in her room, reflecting on the day's events, there was a knock at her door. She opened it to find Silk standing there, all eyes wide with excitement. "Zoe," the little green alien exclaimed. "Is it true? Did you really create an energy shield and deflect Vexlor's attack?" Zoe sighed, inviting her friend in. "News travels fast around here, doesn't it?" Zilks bounced excitedly. "Are you kidding? It's all anyone can talk about. You're a hero to half the school now, especially the younger students and those from less respected worlds." Zoe felt a warmth in her chest at that. She hadn't thought about how her actions might inspire others who felt out of place at the academy. "But Zoe, Zilks continued, their voice dropping to a whisper, "Be careful. Vexlor and his friends. They're not going to let this go. And there are rumors that some of the more traditional faculty members aren't happy about your special training either." Zoe nodded, her expression serious. "I know, Zilks, but I can't back down now. Whatever this power is, whatever it means, I have to see it through." As Zilks left, Zoe stood by her window, gazing out at the star-filled sky. She thought about Earth, so far away now, and wondered what her parents would think if they could see her now. She thought about the cosmic ancients, whose legacy she now carried. And she thought about the challenges that lay ahead. The path before her was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. But as Zoe Fletcher, the girl from Earth, stood there bathed in starlight, she knew one thing for certain. She was ready to face whatever the galaxy had in store for her. Her journey of discovery was far from over. It was only just beginning. Training and transformation. The days following Zoe's confrontation with Vexlor were a whirlwind of intense training and rapid transformation. Word of her newfound abilities spread through the academy like wildfire, and Zoe found herself at the center of attention, both wanted and unwanted. Headmaster Vexthor, recognizing the need for accelerated training, assigned Zoe to a specialized program. Her days now started before dawn with meditation sessions led by Master Genra, a being of pure energy who had transcended physical form centuries ago. "Clear your mind, young Fletcher." Master Genra's voice echoed in Zoe's head as they sat in the Academy's tranquility garden. "Feel the energy of the cosmos flowing through you. You are not separate from it. You are a conduit, a vessel for its power." Zoe closed her eyes, focusing on her breathing. Slowly, she began to sense the energy around her, the life force of the alien plants, the hum of the Academy's power systems, and beyond that, the vast, pulsing energy of the stars themselves. As the weeks progressed, Zoe's control over her abilities grew exponentially. She could now create and manipulate energy constructs at will, forming shields, bridges, and even simple tools out of pure energy. Professor Lyrax oversaw Zoe's combat training, teaching her to integrate her new powers with physical techniques from across the galaxy. "Remember, Zoe," Lyrax instructed as they sparred in the Academy's holographic training room, "your energy manipulation is a tool, not a crutch. A true warrior of the cosmos must be prepared for any situation." Zoe nodded, sweat beading on her brow as she dodged a flurry of holographic projectiles while maintaining an energy shield around herself. But it wasn't all combat and energy manipulation. Headmaster Vexthor insisted on a holistic approach to Zoe's education. She spent hours in the library, studying the history and philosophy of the cosmic ancients under the tutelage of Archivist Cthera, a member of a long-lived species known for their vast knowledge. The ancients believed in balance above all else, Cthera explained, her multifaceted eyes gleaming with enthusiasm. "Power without wisdom is a path to destruction. You must understand the responsibility that comes with your gifts." As Zoe's abilities grew, so did the challenges she faced. Not everyone at the Academy was thrilled about a human wielding such power. Some students, inspired by Vexlor's hostility, began to openly resent Zoe's special treatment. One afternoon, as Zoe was making her way to the quantum mechanics lab, she found her path blocked by a group of upper-year students she didn't recognize. "Well, if it isn't the headmaster's favorite little experiment," one of them sneered, his scaled skin rippling with aggression. Zoe took a deep breath, centering herself as Master Genra had taught her. "I don't want any trouble," she said calmly. "I'm just trying to get to class." The group's leader, a towering being with multiple limbs, stepped forward. "Oh, but trouble's found you, Earthling. We think it's time someone put you in your place." As they moved to surround her, Zoe felt a surge of energy within her. Time seemed to slow as she assessed the situation, her mind racing through the combat scenarios Professor Lyrax had drilled into her. In a fluid motion, Zoe created an energy bubble around herself, expanding it rapidly to push her attackers back. As they stumbled, she used her telekinesis to lift herself into the air, hovering just out of reach. "This doesn't have to end in a fight," Zoe called out, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We're all here to learn, to become better. Why can't we do that together?" For a moment, the attackers hesitated, clearly not expecting such a display of power or such a diplomatic response. But their leader's face hardened. "Pretty words won't save you, Earthling," he growled, leaping towards her with surprising agility. Zoe reacted instinctively, creating an energy slide that redirected her attacker's momentum, sending him sprawling down the corridor. The others rushed forward, but Zoe was ready. She wove and dodged, using her energy constructs to deflect attacks and create obstacles. As the fight progressed, Zoe felt something changing within her. The energy she wielded seemed to be flowing more freely, responding to her will with greater speed and precision. Her movements became more fluid, almost dance-like, as she evaded her attackers. Suddenly, a voice boomed through the corridor. "Enough." Headmaster Vexthor stood at the end of the hallway, his eyes blazing with anger. With a wave of his hand, he froze the attackers in place. "I am deeply disappointed," Vexthor said, his voice cold. "This behavior is unworthy of students of the Galactic Academy. You will all report to my office immediately." As the chastened students were led away, Vexthor turned to Zoe, his expression softening. "Are you all right, Ms. Fletcher?" Zoe nodded, still catching her breath. "I'm fine, Headmaster. I didn't want to hurt anyone." Vexthor smiled, a hint of pride in his eyes. "And that, young one, is why you are truly worthy of the power you wield. Come, we have much to discuss." In Vexthor's office, Zoe recounted what had happened. As she spoke, she noticed the headmaster watching her intently. "Ms. Fletcher," Vexthor said when she had finished, "what you experienced today was more than just a confrontation. It was a catalyst." Zoe looked at him, puzzled. "A catalyst, sir?" Vexthor nodded. "The power of the cosmic ancients is not static. It grows, evolves, adapts to the wielder. Today, under stress, you reached a new level of communion with that power." He stood, walking to a holographic display that showed a swirling galaxy. The ancients believed that true mastery came not from dominating the energy of the cosmos, but from becoming one with it. You, Zoe Fletcher, have taken your first step on that path. Zoe sat in stunned silence, trying to process what the headmaster was saying. She had felt the change during the fight, but she hadn't realized its significance. "What does this mean, Headmaster?" she asked finally. Vexthor turned to her, his expression serious. "It means, Ms. Fletcher, that your training must intensify. The power you wield is greater than we initially believed, and with it comes even greater responsibility." Over the next few weeks, Zoe's training regimen became even more demanding. She spent hours in deep meditation with Master Genra, learning to attune herself to the cosmic energy that flowed through her. Her combat training with Professor Lyrax now included scenarios that pushed her newfound abilities to their limits and beyond. But perhaps the most challenging aspect of her new training was learning to navigate the complex social and political landscape of the Academy. As news of her growing powers spread, Zoe found herself the subject of intense scrutiny from students and faculty alike. Some, like Zilks and a growing group of students from less privileged worlds, looked to her as a symbol of hope and change. Others, particularly those from traditionally powerful species, viewed her with suspicion and fear. Zoe did her best to bridge these divides, using her newfound confidence to reach out to students from all backgrounds. She organized study groups, offered tutoring in subjects she excelled at, and always stood up for those who were bullied or marginalized. One evening, as Zoe sat in the Academy's observatory, gazing out at the stars, she felt a presence behind her. "Quite a view, isn't it?" came a familiar voice. Zoe turned to see Archivist Thera floating nearby, her many eyes reflecting the starlight. "It's beautiful," Zoe replied. "Sometimes I still can't believe I'm out here, among the stars." Thura moved closer, her voice taking on a thoughtful tone. You know, young Fletcher, in all my centuries of study, I've never seen anyone quite like you. Zoe looked at the archivist, curious. What do you mean? The cosmic ancients left their mark on many worlds, but Earth was special to them, Thera explained. They saw great potential in your species, a unique blend of physical adaptability and spiritual awareness, but they also foresaw great challenges in your future. The archivist's eyes seemed to look beyond Zoe, into some distant future. I believed, Zoe Fletcher, that you are the fulfillment of an ancient promise, a bridge between Earth and the greater galactic community. Zoe felt a weight settle on her shoulders at Cathera's words. But I'm just one person. How can I be a bridge between worlds? Cathera's expression softened. By being exactly who you are, young one. By showing the galaxy the best of what humanity has to offer. Your adaptability, your empathy, your unwavering spirit in the face of adversity. As Zoe pondered these words, a commotion in the corridor outside caught their attention. They rushed out to find a group of students gathered around a holographic news display. Reports of increased pirate activity in the Outer Rim. A news anchor was saying, "The Galactic Council has called for increased security measures." Zoe felt a chill run down her spine. She remembered her history lessons about the Outer Rim, a lawless region of space where pirates and criminals often preyed on vulnerable colonies. As she watched the worried faces of her fellow students, many of whom had family in the affected regions, Zoe felt a surge of determination. She may still be learning, still growing into her powers, but she knew one thing for certain. She would use everything she had learned to help those in need. Little did Zoe know, this new threat would soon test everything she had learned at the academy, pushing her abilities and her courage to their very limits. The girl from Earth was about to face her greatest challenge yet, one that would determine not just her future, but potentially the future of the entire galaxy. Triumph and recognition. The news of increased pirate activity in the Outer Rim sent shockwaves through the Galactic Academy. For many students, it wasn't just a distant threat. It was a very real danger to their homes and families. Zoe could feel the tension in the air, thick and oppressive, as worried whispers filled the corridors. One morning, as Zoe entered the Grand Assembly Hall for an emergency meeting, she noticed the grim expressions on the faces of the faculty members. Headmaster Vexthor stood at the podium, his usually serene features marred by concern. "Students of the Galactic Academy," Vexthor began, his voice echoing through the hall. "As you are all aware, the situation in the Outer Rim has become critical. The Galactic Council has requested our assistance in this matter." A murmur rippled through the crowd. The Academy was known for its neutrality, rarely involving itself in galactic conflicts. "A team of our most skilled senior students will be dispatched to assist in the protection of key outposts," Vexthor continued. "This mission is voluntary, but I urge those with the necessary skills to consider this opportunity to put your training into practice for the greater good." As the headmaster outlined the details of the mission, Zoe felt a growing sense of purpose. This was why she had been training so hard, wasn't it? To make a difference, to help those in need. Without hesitation, Zoe raised her hand. "I volunteer, Headmaster." A hush fell over the assembly hall. All eyes turned to Zoe, expressions ranging from admiration to disbelief. Vexthor's eyebrows raised slightly. "Ms. Fletcher, while your progress has been remarkable, this mission is typically reserved for our most experienced students." "With all due respect, Headmaster," Zoe replied, her voice steady, "I believe I can contribute. My abilities might be unconventional, but they could be exactly what's needed in an unpredictable situation." Before Vexthor could respond, another voice rang out. "If the Earthling's going, then so am I." Zoe turned in surprise to see Vexthor standing, his 4 eyes fixed on her with an unreadable expression. "And me," Zilks piped up, bouncing excitedly in their seat. One by one, more students volunteered, inspired by Zoe's courage. Even some who had once looked at her with suspicion now stood beside her, united in their desire to help. Vexthor looked out at the sea of raised hands, a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Very well," he said. "Those who have volunteered, report to the hangar bay at 600 hours tomorrow. May the wisdom of the ancients guide you all." As the assembly dispersed, Zoe found herself surrounded by her fellow volunteers. Vexlor approached her, his expression serious. "Don't think this makes us friends, Fletcher," he said gruffly. "But out there, against the pirates, we're on the same side. Don't let us down." Zoe nodded, understanding the olive branch for what it was. "I won't, Vexlor. We're in this together." The next morning, as the twin suns of the Academy's world peeked over the horizon, Zoe and her teammates boarded the sleek starship that would take them to the Outer Rim. As the engines hummed to life, Zoe took a deep breath, centering herself as Master Genre had taught her. The journey to the Outer Rim was tense, filled with strategy meetings and last-minute training sessions. Zoe was impressed by the skills of her teammates. Vexler's tactical genius, Zilx's unparalleled hacking abilities, and the diverse talents of the others. Together, they formed a formidable team. As they approached their destination, a small mining colony that had been suffering frequent pirate raids, Zoe felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. This was it. This was her chance to prove herself, to show the galaxy what a human from Earth could do. The colony came into view, a cluster of domed structures on a barren, rocky world. No sooner had their ship entered orbit than alarms began blaring. "Pirate ships detected," the pilot announced. "They're on an intercept course." Vexlor, who had taken charge of their tactical operations, barked out orders. "Zilx, jam their communications. Zoe, we need a shield around the colony. Now." Zoe closed her eyes, reaching out with her senses as she had practiced countless times. She could feel the energy of the cosmos flowing through her, and she shaped it with her will, creating a massive, shimmering dome of energy that enveloped the entire colony. The pirate ships opened fire, their energy weapons splashing harmlessly against Zoe's shield. But maintaining such a large construct was taxing, and Zoe could feel the strain building. "I can't hold this forever," she gritted out. "We need a plan." Vexlor nodded, his tactical mind racing. "Zilx, can you hack their ship systems?" The little green alien's fingers flew over the control panel. "I'm in, but their security is tough. I need time." "Time we don't have," Vexlor growled as more pirate ships appeared on the scanners. Zoe, her mind racing, had an idea. "Vexlor, if I drop the shield, can you get us close to their lead ship?" Vexlor's eyes widened as he realized what she was planning. "It's risky, but it might just work. Everyone, hold on tight." As Zoe let the energy shield dissipate, Vexlor piloted their ship in a series of dizzying maneuvers, dodging enemy fire as they closed in on the pirate flagship. Just as they came alongside, Zoe reached out with her powers, creating an energy tether between their ship and the pirate vessel. "Zilx, now," Zoe shouted. With a direct connection, Zilx's hacking skills proved unstoppable. Within moments, the pirate ship's weapon systems went offline, their engines sputtering to a halt. "We did it!" Zilx cheered as the remaining pirate ships, seeing their leader disabled, turned tail and fled. The colony erupted in celebration as Zoe and her team landed. They were hailed as heroes, their bravery and teamwork having saved countless lives. As they walked through the cheering crowds, Zoe felt a sense of accomplishment unlike anything she had ever experienced. But their mission wasn't over yet. Over the next few weeks, Zoe and her team worked tirelessly, helping to set up better defenses for the colony and training the local security forces. Zoe's unique abilities proved invaluable, allowing her to create energy constructs that could serve as both shields and power sources for the colony systems. Throughout it all, Zoe was struck by how well she and her teammates worked together. Even Vexlor, who had once been her most vocal critic, now treated her with a grudging respect. As their time at the colony drew to a close, Zoe stood on a hilltop overlooking the settlement. The domes gleamed in the alien sunlight, a beacon of civilization in the harsh outer rim. She felt a presence beside her and turned to see Vexlor. "You did good out there, Fletcher," he said, his voice gruff but sincere. "Maybe there's more to you Earthlings than I thought." Zoe smiled. "Thanks, Vexlor. We all did good. As a team." As they stood there, watching the bustle of the colony below, Zoe felt a sense of peace wash over her. She had found her place in this vast, incredible universe. The return to the Galactic Academy was triumphant. News of their success had spread, and they were greeted as returning heroes. Headmaster Vexthor himself was waiting for them as they disembarked. "Well done, all of you," he said, his eyes twinkling with pride. "You have brought great honor to the Academy, and more importantly, you have made a real difference in the lives of those colonists." In the days that followed, life at the Academy changed for Zoe. Students who had once looked at her with suspicion now sought her out, eager to learn from her experiences. She found herself leading study groups, sharing not just her knowledge of energy manipulation, but also the uniquely human perspectives that had proven so valuable on their mission. One evening, as Zoe sat in the Academy's garden, reflecting on how far she had come, she was approached by Archivist Cthera. "You have done well, young Fletcher," Cthera said, her multifaceted eyes gleaming. "You have taken the first steps towards fulfilling the potential the ancients saw in humanity." Zoe looked up at the stars twinkling overhead. "I still have so much to learn," she said, "about my powers, about the universe, about myself." Cthera nodded sagely. "The journey of discovery never truly ends, Zoe, but you have proven something important, that humanity has a place among the stars. You have shown the galaxy the best of what your species has to offer." As if to punctuate Cthera's words, a shooting star blazed across the sky. Zoe watched its fiery trail, a smile playing on her lips. She thought of Earth, so far away, and of all the incredible things she had experienced since coming to the Academy. She thought of the friends she had made, the challenges she had overcome, and the difference she had been able to make. And she knew, with a certainty that ran bone deep, that this was only the beginning. Zoe Fletcher, the girl from Earth, had found her place in the cosmos. She had unlocked powers beyond her wildest dreams, faced down dangers that would have once terrified her, and emerged stronger for it all. As she sat there in the alien garden, beneath an unfamiliar sky, Zoe felt a sense of belonging that transcended planets and species. The universe was vast and full of wonders, and she was ready to explore it all. With her newfound powers, her human adaptability, and the friends she had made along the way, Zoe knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them head-on. For in this grand cosmic tapestry, she had found her thread, unique, vibrant, and woven inextricably into the fabric of the galaxy. Zoe Fletcher, once an ordinary girl from Earth, had become a bridge between worlds, a beacon of hope, and a shining example of humanity's potential. As the night deepened and stars wheeled overhead, Zoe's heart swelled with excitement for the adventures yet to come. The galaxy was waiting, and she was ready to answer its call.